saved my life in Kabul. We were in an undertow, and a few weeks later...
Millions of people around the world know Catherine O'Hara as the unforgettable mother from Home Alone and the wildly eccentric Moira Rose from Schitt's Creek. She made audiences laugh with effortless charm, unique expressions, and a style that no one could imitate. For decades, she has remained one of Hollywood's most beloved actresses, earning admiration from both longtime fans and a new generation discovering her work through streaming platforms. But behind the laughter and unforgettable performances is a story that is far more inspiring than most people realize. Long before the awards, the standing ovations, and the worldwide recognition, Catherine O'Hara was simply a young woman from Canada chasing an impossible dream in one of the most competitive industries in the world. Her journey was never built on overnight success. It was built on patience, resilience, and an extraordinary ability to transform ordinary characters into unforgettable icons. While many actors spend their careers searching for one defining role, Catherine O'Hara created several, each completely different from the last. She was born on March 4, 1954, in Toronto, Ontario, Canada, into a large Irish Catholic family with 6 siblings. Growing up in a busy household meant there was never a shortage of stories, personalities, or laughter. From an early age, she developed a sharp sense of humor and an ability to observe the smallest details of everyday life. Those observations would later become one of her greatest strengths as an actress. Unlike many future Hollywood stars, Catherine never dreamed of becoming a glamorous celebrity. She was fascinated by comedy, characters, and storytelling. She enjoyed making people laugh more than being the center of attention. Friends describe her as creative, curious, and quietly confident, someone who could imitate almost anyone after spending only a few minutes watching them. After finishing school, she entered the entertainment industry through Toronto's growing comedy scene. It wasn't an easy path. She accepted small opportunities, worked behind the scenes, and learned from experienced performers while patiently waiting for her own chance. That opportunity arrived when she joined the legendary improvisational comedy troupe The Second City. The environment was unlike anything she had experienced before. Every performance demanded quick thinking, originality, and fearless creativity. There were no guarantees, no second takes, and no scripts to hide behind. It was here that Catherine's natural talent began to shine. She developed unforgettable characters, perfected her timing, and discovered a unique style that balanced absurd comedy with genuine emotion. Fellow performers quickly realized they were working alongside someone extraordinary. Her work with The Second City soon led to the cult television series SCTV, a sketch comedy show that would become one of the most influential comedy programs in North America. Playing dozens of completely different personalities, Catherine demonstrated incredible versatility. In one sketch, she could be a dramatic movie star, and in the next an awkward suburban mother or an eccentric television host. Audiences loved her because every character felt authentic, no matter how ridiculous the situation became. Critics praised her fearless performances and her ability to steal every scene without demanding attention. Hollywood eventually noticed what Canadian audiences already knew. Catherine O'Hara possessed something that couldn't be taught, a rare combination of intelligence, warmth, and comedic instinct. Movie offers slowly began arriving, opening the door to a career that would span more than 4 decades. But the role that would introduce her to millions of families around the world was still waiting just around the corner, and it would forever change her place in entertainment history. Everything changed in 1990 when Catherine O'Hara accepted the role that would make her a household name across the globe. In Home Alone, she played Kate McCallister, the loving but overwhelmed mother who accidentally leaves her 8-year-old son behind while rushing to catch a family flight to Paris. On paper, the role seemed simple. But Catherine brought something much deeper to the character. She transformed Kate into a believable, caring mother whose panic and determination felt completely real. Audiences laughed at the film's hilarious moments, but they also connected with the emotional journey of a parent desperate to reunite with her child. Home Alone became a worldwide phenomenon, earning hundreds of millions of dollars and becoming one of the most successful family films ever made. Every holiday season, millions of people still return to the movie, making Catherine O'Hara a permanent part of Christmas traditions around the world. Its sequel, Home Alone 2, Lost in New York, repeated that success, further cementing her place in pop culture history. Yet despite appearing in one of Hollywood's biggest franchises, Catherine never allowed fame to change the way she approached her work. Instead of chasing blockbuster roles, she continued choosing projects that challenged her creativity. She collaborated with acclaimed filmmaker Christopher Guest in a series of improvised comedy films including Waiting for Guffman, Best in Show, A Mighty Wind, and For Your Consideration. These films introduced audiences to another side of Catherine's talent. Without relying on elaborate scripts, she created characters that felt wonderfully awkward, hilarious, and surprisingly human. Critics praised her performances, while fellow actors admired her fearless improvisational skills. One of the qualities that set Catherine apart was her ability to disappear into every role. She never tried to become the biggest star in the room. She focused entirely on making every character believable, whether she appeared on screen for 2 minutes or carried an entire film. As Hollywood evolved through the 1990s and early 2000s, many comedy stars struggled to remain relevant. Trends changed, audiences changed, and careers often faded. But Catherine O'Hara quietly continued building one of the most respected filmographies in the entertainment industry. She also became a highly successful voice actress, lending her distinctive voice to animated classics such as Tim Burton's The Nightmare Before Christmas, where she voiced Sally, a gentle and intelligent character who would become one of animation's most beloved heroines. Generations of fans grew up hearing her voice without even realizing it belonged to the same actress they knew from Home Alone. That versatility became one of the defining characteristics of her career. Behind the scenes, colleagues consistently described Catherine as humble, professional, and incredibly generous. Directors trusted her instincts, writers admired her creativity, and younger performers often spoke about how welcoming she was on set. While many celebrities constantly sought attention, Catherine preferred letting her work speak for itself. She rarely found herself surrounded by controversy or public drama, choosing instead to focus on family, friendships, and the craft she loved. Then, decades after becoming famous, she accepted a television role that many assumed would simply be another chapter in an already remarkable career. Instead, it would become one of the greatest comebacks in modern television history and introduce Catherine O'Hara to an entirely new generation of fans who had never seen Home Alone but would soon become obsessed with one unforgettable character named Moira Rose. By the time Schitt's Creek premiered, Catherine O'Hara had already spent decades building one of the most respected careers in Hollywood. She had appeared in classic films, voiced unforgettable animated characters, and earned the admiration of actors and directors across the industry. But no one could have predicted what would happen next. The character of Moira Rose was unlike anything television audiences had ever seen. With extravagant wigs, dramatic fashion, a mysterious accent, and vocabulary that sounded as if every sentence belonged in a Shakespearean play, Moira instantly became one of the most memorable characters in modern comedy. What could have easily become an over-the-top parody instead became a deeply emotional and surprisingly relatable performance. Catherine approached the role with incredible attention to detail. She personally helped shape Moira's wardrobe, experimented with different voices, and created dozens of unique mannerisms that made the character completely unforgettable. Every scene felt unpredictable. One moment Moira delivered a hilarious one-liner that exploded across social media, and the next she revealed vulnerability, love, and insecurity beneath the glamorous image she projected to the world. Audiences immediately connected with her. As streaming platforms introduced Schitt's Creek to millions of new viewers, the show's popularity grew beyond anyone's expectations. What started as a small comedy slowly transformed into a worldwide cultural phenomenon. Memes, interviews, fan pages, and viral clips filled the internet, with Catherine O'Hara becoming one of the most celebrated actresses on television. The success reached its peak when Schitt's Creek swept the Emmy Awards, making television history by winning every major comedy acting category in a single year. Catherine herself received the Primetime Emmy Award for Outstanding Lead Actress in a Comedy Series, a moment many critics described as long overdue. For fans who had followed her career since the 1980s, it felt like Hollywood was finally recognizing a performer who had quietly delivered exceptional work for decades without demanding the spotlight. Despite receiving global attention once again, Catherine remained remarkably grounded. She continued giving interviews with the same warmth and humility that had defined her entire career. Instead of talking about fame, she spoke about collaboration, creativity, and the joy of making people laugh. Away from cameras, she maintained a private family life with production designer Bo Welsh, whom she married in 1992. Together, they raised 2 sons while successfully balancing Hollywood careers with a relatively normal personal life. Unlike many celebrities whose private struggles constantly dominate headlines, Catherine carefully separated her work from her personal world. She believed audiences should remember the characters rather than the gossip surrounding the actor. That philosophy earned her enormous respect throughout the industry. Directors repeatedly praised her professionalism, co-stars admired her generosity, and younger actors often described working with Catherine as a masterclass in performance. Her influence extended far beyond comedy. Many of today's most successful actresses have cited Catherine O'Hara as an inspiration because of her fearless commitment to every role and her ability to create characters that feel both larger than life and completely human. Perhaps that is the true secret behind her lasting success. She never chased trends. She never tried to reinvent herself simply to remain famous. Instead, she trusted great storytelling, embraced unusual characters, and allowed authenticity to guide every performance. More than 40 years after beginning her career, Catherine O'Hara remains one of the rare Hollywood legends whose work continues to unite multiple generations. Parents who grew up watching Home Alone now watch Schitt's Creek with their children, discovering that the same actress who once made them laugh as Kate McCallister can still surprise them with entirely new performances decades later. Very few entertainers achieve that kind of timeless connection, and even fewer do it with the grace, humility, and originality that Catherine O'Hara has demonstrated throughout her extraordinary journey. Looking back at Catherine O'Hara's career, one thing becomes impossible to ignore. She never followed the traditional Hollywood formula. She didn't rely on scandals to stay relevant. She didn't chase headlines or constantly reinvent herself for attention. Instead, she built something far more valuably reputation based on consistency, authenticity, and extraordinary talent. For more than 4 decades, she has entertained audiences through comedy, drama, animation, and television, proving that true success is measured not by temporary fame but by lasting impact. Every generation seems to discover her in a different way. Some remember her as the terrified mother racing through airports in Home Alone. Others instantly recognize the gentle voice of Sally from The Nightmare Before Christmas. A younger audience knows her as the unforgettable Moira Rose, delivering lines with unmatched elegance and eccentricity. And that is what makes Catherine O'Hara such a unique figure in entertainment history. She never became trapped by a single role. She evolved naturally, embracing every opportunity to challenge herself while remaining completely authentic to her artistic style. Hollywood is filled with stars who shine brightly for a few years before fading into memory. Catherine chose a different path. She focused on the craft rather than the spotlight, on memorable performances rather than publicity, and on meaningful collaboration instead of celebrity culture. That decision earned her something many actors spend a lifetime searching for: universal respect. Directors trust her. Actors admire her. Critics celebrate her. And audiences continue to return to her work year after year. Her story also reminds us that longevity in Hollywood is rarely built through luck alone. It requires patience, discipline, humility, and the courage to remain yourself in an industry that constantly encourages people to become someone else. From a young comedian performing in Toronto to an Emmy-winning television icon recognized around the world, Catherine O'Hara's journey is a remarkable example of perseverance and creativity. Her legacy isn't defined by one award, one movie, or one unforgettable character. It lives in every family that watches Home Alone during the holidays. It lives in every fan who smiles when Moira Rose appears on screen wearing another outrageous wig. And it lives in every aspiring performer who learns that originality is often the greatest strength an artist can possess. Long after trends change and new stars emerge, Catherine O'Hara's performances will continue to inspire, entertain, and bring people together through laughter and genuine emotion. That is the mark of a true Hollywood legend. If you enjoyed this story, share your favorite Catherine O'Hara performance in the comments below. Was it Home Alone, The Nightmare Before Christmas, Schitt's Creek, or another unforgettable role that made you a fan? Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next documentary.